What if I told you that there is one thing that you could do that could possibly give you 80% or more of the results that you're looking for in your speech? So let's say you struggle with your speech, you speak too fast, or you stammer, or you stutter, or you start to break down under pressure, you have a problem introducing yourself, or whatever it is. And what if I told you that there was one thing that if you did this one thing, that doesn't mean it's the only thing, but if you did this one thing, that you could possibly get 80% of the way there to where you want to be? What would you say? Would that be something that you'd be interested in? Well, my name is Michael Williams, and today I want to share with you how you can smooth out your speech by 80% or more. And this is not something that I just came up with myself. It's something that I've learned from my coaching clients. I've learned this from my coaching clients. And the reason that that's important is because people can come up with all kinds of theories, and it might even be something that they did themselves, which is legitimate, or it's something that maybe they read. It could even be something that's scientific, which again, it's legitimate. However, if it's something that you can learn from people who are just like you, and this is something that hundreds and thousands of people have been doing, and it's been helping them smooth out their speech, then doesn't that make you feel a lot more confident about using whatever this technique or strategy is? So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is what I've learned from coaching clients over the past 8 years. Okay? So it's something that you can believe. Now, some of you who don't know me may be wondering, who am I and what gives me the right to speak to you if you struggle with your speech? Well, growing up, in fact, for probably the first 30 years of my life or so, I struggled with my speech. There were times where I stammered or stuttered severely. I remember being in speech therapy in first and second grade, and off and on throughout school, which the speech therapy didn't really help me. I remember not being able to say some of the things that I wanted to say in class. There were times where I knew the answer and wanted to speak up and didn't. There were events and contests and organizations that I wanted to be a part of, but didn't. Now, it didn't stop me from excelling in school, but it certainly slowed me down, and it certainly made things harder. There were times where I wanted to talk to people, wanted to talk to girls, and wanted to jump into a conversation and didn't because of my speech. And so I know what it feels like to struggle with your speech, to essentially feel imprisoned in your own mind, to feel like you can't say what it is that you want to say. And people who don't stutter or haven't stuttered, sometimes they can't really understand what that feels like when you know what you want to say, but your body won't let you say it. I know what that feels like, but I also know what it feels like to be free to say what I want to say, when I want to say it, the way I want to say it. I also know what it feels like to guide other people through this process and get them to the place where they are now free, where they are doing better at work, where they're getting more promotions, where they're getting better jobs and different jobs, where they're starting to do the things that their speech had been holding them back from doing, and now they're able to do it, where now they're able to dream and to see possibilities that maybe they didn't see before. I know what it feels like to help people do that as well. And so this video is just one of many that I have done, that I will do, to give you hope, but to also give you some specific steps, some things that you can do to help you get to that place where you feel free. And so, as I said before, this is something that I learned from my clients. And what it is, believe it or not, you've heard this before, but I'm not just going to tell you that you should do this. I'm going to actually share with you how to do it. But slowing down gives them their most results. And these are people that I've worked with, some of whom have been severe stutterers. Others have been maybe mild. And then there's some who you can't even tell, but they know, right? They're just hiding it. They know that they stutter. they just, or block, they just don't say anything. They don't necessarily show it. So just because someone's not severe on the outside doesn't mean that they're not struggling on the inside, okay? And so one of the things that they've been told, that you've probably been told by speech therapists and by other professionals, is, hey, just slow down. Just slow your speech down. This will help a lot. Well, yes, that's true, but the question is, how do I slow down? And is and will slowing down actually help me make my speech smoother? Well, I'm here to tell you that yes, it will help you make your speech smoother, and I'm going to give you some other benefits that slowing down will do, even if you don't stutter or stammer. But maybe you speak too fast, or you feel rushed, or you feel anxious. I'm going to give you some benefits, and then we're going to walk you through 3 simple steps to help you slow your speech down and receive these benefits and more that we're going to talk about today. So, as we mentioned before, slowing down, just slowing down, I mean, I've watched this, I've seen this, can give people 80% of their results. So that is just by learning to slow down, they get 80% of the way there to their goal of speaking smoothly and clearly and calmly and confidently. 80% of the way there. Sometimes more, sometimes a little less, 70%, 75, 65 or something like that. But most of the time it's around 80% or more. So let's talk about some of the benefits of slowing down. One of the benefits is that you feel more relaxed. So I was meeting with a client 2 days ago, Monday, so a couple of days before recording this video. And I had her slow her speech down. Now, she wasn't speaking super fast in our meeting. She was speaking a little faster than what she should have been at that time. And so we just had her slow her speech down. I said, do this, gave her something very specific to do to slow her speech down. I didn't just say slow your speech down. Do this to slow your speech down. And when she did it, guess what she said? You know what? I've been feeling a little anxious today. And when I slowed my speech down, listen, when I slowed my speech down, I felt more relaxed. Now, she's not the first one to tell me that. I've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients tell me the same thing, that when they slow their speech down, they start to feel more relaxed. So one of the benefits that you'll receive when you slow your speech down is that you're going to start to feel more relaxed. What's another one? You're going to feel more in control. So my clients tell me when they slow their speech down, they say, wow, you know what? I feel more in control of my speech now. Let me just give you an example. I was talking with this same young lady, and this is a habit that many of us have or had. We use certain filler words or certain words like, okay? And so she was using a lot of likes. And when she slowed her speech down, she was able to catch herself. She was able to become aware of what she was doing. Like, oh, wow, I just caught myself again, right? So when you're speaking really fast, often you're not able to catch some of the things that you're doing. You're not able to be aware because you're doing whatever it is that you're doing automatically. And it's happening so quickly, it goes beyond or outside of your awareness, okay? So when you slow it down, you're able to become more aware of your current habits, and it's only after you become aware that you're able to actually change them or replace them with something else. Makes sense, okay? So you're more in control. You're able to see what you're doing. You're able to start to replace it. You're able to control your speech a lot better in some of the things that maybe you've been doing. You're able to control it a lot better. Control it and replace it. So control, you feel more in control. What's another one? You can think more clearly. Had another client that I was meeting with a couple of days ago. He said, you know what I've been experiencing in my meetings now? He's multilingual, let's say bilingual. Many of my clients are multilingual. So some of you out there are watching this from other countries, and maybe you don't speak a lot of English. You speak enough, but it's not something that you do every day. And you're wondering, will this work for me? Will the system work for me? Will the coaching work for me? Yes, it will, because most of the people I work with speak other languages, and often they speak these languages throughout the day, and some of them only speak English when they speak to me, right? So, will this work for you? Yes, it will. But here's what he said to me. He said, during the day, because I've been slowing my speech down, I'm able to actually think more clearly. I'm able to gather my thoughts together and articulate them more clearly. Wow, what a powerful benefit. Just by slowing your speech down, you're able to think more clearly. So have you ever been in a situation where you were in a meeting or conversation or a high-stakes situation where your thoughts just started to get cloudy? Everything that you had been learned just went out the window. Everything that you knew went out the window because you were starting to feel a little anxious, you were feeling rushed, you were in a hurry, you were speaking fast, and so you just started speaking around in circles. You weren't very concise or precise, and so you didn't perform as well as you knew that you could, right? Well, slowing your speech down can help you think more clearly. Now, let's just take a little pause here. I don't want you to think that slowing your speech down is the only thing that can help you, is the only thing that will help. For some people, it may be. It may be just slowing their speech down. That's it. For other people, there are some other things that you need to do. And as those other steps, those other strategies and techniques and skills are built into the Pro 90D Smooth Speech system. So I'm giving you one thing, and it's one of, I would say, one of, not the, but one of the most important things. And often it's the first step, but it's not everything. So don't watch this and then leave and go, oh, okay, Michael Williams said all we need to do is slow down and we won't stutter, we won't stammer, we won't be able to do this. That's not what I'm saying, okay? I'm saying that slowing down can often, and usually does, give you a huge amount of the results. It takes you a huge way towards achieving your goals. Okay, this is just what I've seen, and I believe it to be true because I've seen it over and over, year after year, person after person, from different parts of the world, different educations, multiple languages, doesn't matter which language. Slowing down gives them these benefits. Okay, so it helps you think more clearly. The other thing that slowing down does is it helps you model more easily. Now, some of you are wondering, what is modeling? So let me briefly explain it, because this particular video isn't to go into detail of what modeling is, but modeling is one of the most powerful tools that you can use to transform your speech and many other areas of your life. Virtually all professionals, virtually all experts in their field, whatever field it is, they're leaders, they're musicians, they're artists, military leaders, whatever it is, have modeled someone else. There was someone else that they observed, that they learned from, that helped them develop their skill level. When you were growing up, the first way that you learned to do many of the things you do, like speaking, wasn't reading books or watching videos necessarily. It was observing the people around you, the people in your family. You watched them, you listened to them, and then you mimicked them, you imitated them. There's something that we have in our brains called mirror neurons, and you can look that up. And what happens with these neurons, in part, is that when you and I are observing other people do something similar, something that we're familiar with, like walking or talking, or it could be leading, or it could be playing an instrument, or playing one particular aspect of sports. When we observe someone else doing that, the neurons that manage that activity in our brains actually begin to communicate with each other. They actually begin to light up, right? Because they are mirroring, they're seeing something that they're familiar with, so they start to light up as if you were performing that same behavior, same operation. You don't even have to physically move. The neurons just begin to light up and start to communicate with each other. So we utilize this scientific fact to help you. We strategically use it to help you create a brand new way of thinking about yourself, a brand new way of speaking, a brand new way of behaving, right? We use this neuroscientific fact to help you do that, okay? So it can help you model more easily, which is a shortcut to creating a new speaking style and a new speaking identity. So here's a formula that I'm going to give you, and something that I think you'll remember easily. It's called my simple A.S.S formula. Simple A.S.S formula, with each letter obviously representing something. And it's simple. It's very, very simple for you to remember. So let's take a look at the parts of this. So the A in my simple A.S.S formula is for you to affirm this. Now I want you to follow me. Affirm this. I can take my time and say what I want to say when I want to say it. I can take my time and say what I want to say when I want to say it. Now I want to point out a couple of things to you here. So this first one is to affirm this. And notice that this first part here is I can. Now, why is that important? Why is that important? Well, that's important because it's based on something called the law of control. Often when people are speaking fast and they're responding, and they feel kind of out of control. Someone asks you a question, you feel like I have to respond right now, you feel out of control. And when we feel out of control, we often feel a little more anxious. We often feel hurried and rushed, and therefore we see this in our speech. We see it, we start stumbling over our speech, we start getting stuck, our thoughts start to get cloudy. So the law of control says, and this is not just for speech, but in other areas of our life, that when you feel like, when you are in control of certain areas of your life, you feel better about yourself. Your self-esteem is higher. You feel more relaxed, you feel more confident when you believe, when you feel, when you are in control of those areas of your life. So when you feel like your speech is out of control, then you often don't feel real good about yourself and you don't perform as well, right? Your confidence is not as high, you're not as relaxed because you feel like that area, that aspect of your life is out of your control. But when it's under your control, you feel better and you perform better. Does this make sense? So when you affirm self-talk, talking to ourselves, we have a whole mini series in our program on self-talk. That's how important it is. When you tell yourself, I can take my time and say what I want to say when I want to say it, you're taking back control over your speech. You're taking back control. I can do this. And I can do this when I want, and I can say what I want. And let me just give you just a really quick example of how this can work for you. So for example, let's say you want to go order a coffee, right? You want to go order a coffee. So an example might be a cafe macchiato or something like that. I don't even know if that's a coffee because I don't generally order Starbucks or other coffees. But let's say it's a cafe macchiato, grande, right? And so you go in there and all of a sudden you've had problems saying cafe or macchiato or grande, or you have problems saying your name. So you're anticipating and you're thinking about this and you come up to the line, they ask you what, and you order something else because you can't order that. And then you fuddle around and with trying to give them your name. Well, if you've been telling yourself, I can take my time and say what I want to say when I want to say it, then it might play out like this. Now remember, slowing down and doing these steps aren't the only things that you may need to do, but it's one thing, and it's an important thing, okay? Just keep that in mind. So you may go up and you may just be telling us, hey, I can say this, and I can take my time, and I can say this the way I want to say it and when I want to say it. So when they say, yes, sir, so what would you like? Or yes, ma'am, so what would you like? And you say, sure, thank you so much. Today I think I'd like to have the cafe macchiato grande, the grande, right? So what did I just do? Well, I used some introductory words. I said, sure, thank you. My name's sure, thank you. So how are you today? Thank you. All right, so now what I did is I took back control. So in that person's mind, they may have thought, I have to just go in and I have to just say cafe macchiato grande, and that's it. I have to just give them my name. So now they feel like they have less control. They have less options. They have to do it this way. Now they feel pressured. The pressure, I've got to do it. I couldn't do it in the past. I had problems. I'm going to have problems this time. Our brain goes back to revisit your memories to determine how you're going to perform in the future. So if you had problems in the past, your brain will probably say you're probably going to have problems in the future. When you tell yourself, hey, I'm in control, I can take my time, I can say it the way I want, when I want. Doesn't matter what other people are doing around you, how they're saying it. You want to take control over your own speech. We'll talk about that a little more in just a minute or two. So when you say it this way, this is just an example, you're like, hey, I didn't just say this because I don't need to just say cafe macchiato grande, Michael Williams. I can say, sure, thank you. Let's see, let me have the blah, blah, blah. Sure, yes, my name is Michael Williams. Yes, it's Michael Williams. Yeah. Last name is Williams, Michael, right? So I can say, so now I've just had a positive experience because I took back control. I felt like I had options. The more options you have, the freer you feel. The freer you feel. So I felt free. I had options. I didn't feel like I had to just say it this way. Now I've just created, now watch this, a successful speaking memory, a successful speaking experience that my brain can now go back and look and say, oh, sure, you can say it. You can say it. There's lots of different ways that you can say this. So then the next time I go in, or the third time or fourth time, I might just say, yes, cafe macchiato grande, right? Might just say it that way because I feel like it. I want to. I don't have any memories thinking that I can't say it, that I have to say it this one way. No, now I have memories of me being able to say it any way that I want. Does this make sense? Right. So we're using this strategically. So, affirming this, that I can take my time and I can say what I want to say when I want to say it. All right? This next one, the S here, is to speak super slow. Speak super slow. Now, I want to share with you the reason that I'm saying speak super slow. It is to speak super slow. So, speak super slow. So you tell yourself to speak super slow. Now, why is this important that you do this? Well, for some of my clients, when we ask them to slow down, which is often one of the things, and sometimes it's not that they're speaking super fast, it's that they feel rushed. They feel anxious, so just slowing their speech down, they start to feel more relaxed, even if they're not speaking super fast. So, but some of them speak fast. There are times when they speak fast, especially when they feel like they need to hurry up and get it out. Right? I need to get this out while I can, or people are not going to wait for me or whatever, right? So by telling them to speak slow, often they only slow down a little bit, not enough. So sometimes I have to tell them to speak super slow, super slow. So what's an example when I say super slow? What's an example? Because I don't want you to think I'm asking you to speak in a way that sounds weird, because I'm not asking you to speak in a way that sounds really weird. All that I'm saying is that you may need to speak super slow sometimes. Speak super slow, or you may need to speak super slow just to get down to slow. Okay, so what I just did was an example of me speaking super slow. Now, am I going to speak like that the whole time? No, nor do you need to. But speaking super slow just means you slowing yourself down to a point where it feels kind of uncomfortable for you because it's not what you're used to doing. For other people who are around you, it may seem a little strange to them because that's not how they're used to hearing you. But guess what? What's better, for them to see you struggling with your speech, and however it is that you struggle, for them to see you speaking smoothly and maybe slower? And here's the key. Once you've gained control of your speech, once you've developed a nice smooth rhythm, you'll be able to speak more dynamically. Dynamic meaning a combination of faster and slower, like a wave, like a wave. Faster and slower, faster and slower. So only for a temporary period of time will you really need to tell yourself to speak super slow, to gain control, okay, to gain control. So tell yourself to speak super slow. Again, what does that sound like? Well, speaking super slow doesn't mean that you're going to sound super weird, right? You can inflect your voice, you can make sure that you're articulating, you can use body language, you can make sure that you're blending your words together so that you're not speaking this way, or you're not speaking monotone like a robot. I'm not telling you to do that, nor do you need to do that. You can slow your speech down without having to do any of those weird things, okay? And so if you're wondering, well, how do I do that, Mike? Can you help me do that? We're going to show you how you can actually work with me so that I can show you how to do this and do it where people actually like to hear you speak. When you speak, people will listen and they'll love it and they'll want you to speak more. I have clients who tell me that right now. People like the way they speak. I've had clients tell me recently that they've had interviews and people have said, that was a great interview. It's not something that they always say. That was a great interview, or that was a great brief. That was a great presentation. They can see their directors, their executives smiling at them and nodding, giving them more and more opportunities to get out there and speak. Why? Because they have taken control of their speech and they've learned to speak in a way that initially was a little slower, right? A little slow. So one of the things I want you to do, the second S, is to speak super slow. Tell yourself to speak super slow. Remember, you don't have to do this forever, and it doesn't have to be weird. And then the third S here is to stop, right? Stop what? Stop letting others dictate. I'm not going to write the whole thing, but stop letting others dictate when you speak, or what you say, or how fast you speak. Stop letting others dictate how fast you speak when you speak. Okay, so this is important because often people feel like they're not going to wait for me, right? They're not going to wait for me. Or I have to say this way. Why do you have to say it that way? The only time I've had to say something some way was when I was in the military. And even there was a little leeway that I learned, right? But there are certain things I had to say. Attention, right? Right. I had to give commands, so I had to say it that way. But there were some times where I had a little bit of leeway that I could use to get the air flowing or whatever. So hardly ever will it be the situation where you absolutely must say it using these exact words. I even worked, one of my first jobs out of college is I worked on the phone at a huge insurance company, and we had a script. Well, what if you have a script? We had a script. What did I do? I said, hey, can I just modify this a little? Can I add this? I say that, I'm still saying essentially the same, because this was way back before I smoothed out my speech. And they said, sure, let's just, yeah, if you say that, it's no problem. So I added a little yes, hello, and I said this, that, and I was able to say it automatically and smoothly. So rarely, I'm not saying never, but rarely is it that you have to say it this way. No one's going to call the police. You're not going to get arrested if you add a couple of words here or there. This is strategic. This is strategic so that you can build new, successful, positive speaking experiences. And again, we talk about this strategy in the program. These are not just tricks that you're going to use the rest of your life. It's strategic because when you enter a speaking situation, a meeting, or to order something, a conversation, your brain is going to look back very quickly at your memories. And it's going to say, oh, we had a problem. Or it's going to say, oh, we were able to say that smoothly, right? Even if you use some introductory words or you took your time, you said, oh, we were able to say that smoothly. And now it starts recording those memories. And when it looks forward, when you come into a new speaking situation, it says, oh, we don't have any problem saying this. We didn't have any problem before, we don't have any problem. Then you can say it any way you want, right? You can use a shortcut, you can do whatever you want. Does this make sense? So stop letting others dictate what you say or how quickly you feel like you have to say it. So some people feel like, well, if I'm in a group, I have to speak faster because everyone's speaking, they're jumping in, they're giving their ideas, and I have to do the same thing. Well, there are some strategies that you can use in group dynamics that I was actually talking to one of my clients about, one of the ones that I met with a few days ago. Say, here are some strategies that I've used. I've been in lots and lots and lots of groups over the years. I've run groups, I've been a part of groups, I've done a lot. I was a professor, I was a workshop leader, I also went through seminary prior to, and we were in lots of groups. I've been in groups in different languages, and these things work, right? So here's some strategies you can use, but you don't have to feel rushed. You don't have to let that group dictate how you speak. If you're speaking in a meeting and all of your colleagues are speaking fast, you don't have to feel like you have to speak fast, okay? You can take your time. Some of the most intelligent, brilliant people in the world take their time when they're speaking. Of course, there are people who are super intelligent who speak fast, but that's not going to help you right now to model them. It's going to help you to slow your speech down. So one of the things that often happens is the person or the people are not necessarily making you feel like, excuse me, that you have to speed up. Your thinking, your perception of them is that they're not going to wait for me. They want me to speak fast, right? Some people will even say, oh, well, my boss is very nice, and is very patient. I just feel like I have to speak fast. Remember we talked about mirror neurons. So often, and this happens to me too, if I'm around, in fact, I have a friend who tends to speak fast. If I'm around him, sometimes I'll allow myself to speak fast just to see if I can speak smoothly and clearly and confidently and fast. Right? So I'll let myself speak faster, but I'll feel the draw, I'll feel the pull to speed up my speech because he's speaking fast. This is going to happen to you too, probably. But there are times where I will slow my speech down to my own pacings. You set your own pace. Set your own pace. And sometimes you'll have to let people know, hey, I'm going to take my time saying this. I had someone, you probably say, yeah, well, you can't really say that. Well, I had someone who had a boss who wanted him to hurry up, would cut him off, wouldn't let him finish. And he had to have a talk with him and say, hey, sometimes I get a little stuck and I need to take my time when I'm speaking or else it's not going to help me communicate any faster. And the boss kind of let up on him and allowed him to begin to speak once he stood his ground. Now, most of you are not going to have to do that, but there are times when you have to. So the key here is don't let others dictate, either in a very real way or in your imagination. You may have a perception, you may be thinking that they want me, they need me to speak fast, which may not be true at all, okay? So you don't want other people to dictate how quickly you speak. Now, remember, we talked about some ways that you could learn to slow your speech down. This is often one of the first steps that my clients take, that my students need to take in smoothing out their speech, right? So often one of the first steps and one of the biggest steps that they need to do. So what I'd like to do now is to share with you how do we help you speak smoothly, clearly, calmly, confidently? You're probably wondering, well, how does this process actually work and what are my options? Well, you actually have a few options and we'll talk to you about that. But the three ways that we help you change your speech, that we help you say what you want to say, when you want to say it, the way you want to say it, is one, through education, two, practice, this is the way the system works, and three, through real world experience. So let's just kind of walk through those a little bit. So with education, right, we have videos, we have audios, some PDFs. We don't have a lot of that for specific reasons. With the education, you're going to learn new ways of thinking, feeling, and speaking. Have you ever had a situation where you spoke really well, you felt confident, you felt relaxed, you spoke well? Could be just a great speaking day. Or have you ever been by yourself and spoke really well? So you're physically capable of speaking well, but there's something about when you're in certain situations that triggers your getting stuck or you're being disfluent. So one of the things that has to change is you have to learn new ways of thinking, because much of this is psychological, and you have to learn new ways of feeling and learn new ways of speaking. So a big part of this is your learning. How do we learn? We use our senses. What we see, what we watch, what we listen to, which is a powerful one, what we talk about, the people that we're around, and what we do, right? These are some of the ways, and obviously what we taste, right? So forth. So we've built the system and we have the content, right? The educational material for you to watch, for you to listen to. We have the the group for you to participate in, and we also have the things for you to practice. Okay, so let's take a look at the second way is to practice, right? So what you're going to do here is you're going to turn what you've learned into automatic behaviors. You're going to create new patterns, new habits based on what you've learned. So if you constantly anticipate getting stuck, you constantly anticipate having poor experiences in certain situations, you anticipate struggling with certain words, then you have to learn a new way of thinking, a new way of seeing yourself as a speaker. We call this speaking identity. And so when you practice, what you do is you take what you've learned and you turn it into an automatic behavior. And this takes consistent repetition over time. Consistent repetition over time, okay? So that's what the practice component is. So we've built a system. In fact, I'm rebuilding it now from the ground up to make it even easier, than what you may currently see. I'm building the system right now to make it easier. So people who get in now will also have access to different parts of this new system. But we have the system in place. It's been there for years. It's working extremely well, that help you take what you're learning and turn them into automatic behaviors, because everything is based on habit. Everything, the way you speak, the way you think, the way you feel, the way you respond, it's all based on habit. So what we have to do is we have to become aware of what your current habits are by slowing everything down, and then replacing those current thinking and feeling and speaking habits with new ones. Well, what are the new ones? Well, that's what we give you in the program. Here are the new habits. And then the final one is you got to be able to apply it in the real world, right? It's great if you can do it by yourself. It's great if you read it and watch it, listen to it, but you have to be able to actually go out and have great conversations, say what you need to say in meetings, give presentations, do excellent interviews. So we show you how to apply this in real life, okay? Now, you have two options. And there's a third option. One option is you can continue to watch the free videos, right? And what we find is people may make some progress, but it's often inconsistent. Why? Because they don't have the complete system. I know what you're thinking. Well, Michael, you're just saying that because you want us to buy your system or you want us to buy your coaching. Well, if I were just give everything away for free, if I were like just a multi-millionaire, billionaire or something like that, I could maybe afford to give all this away for free. But the other side is this, is that we find that people value things more when they pay for it. How many of you are going through education or have gotten your education and then you just go out and you just work for free? Now, you may do some things for free, but most of you work to earn a living, right? And so why not earn a living doing something that you really love to do? So transform your speech so you can go out and do what you really love to do and earn a living from that. When you give the value, you receive some of that value back. So what I find is that when people are willing to invest in themselves, they're a lot more serious about doing the work. If they just get everything for free, they don't value it as much. Okay? So yes, you can continue to look at this stuff for free, but it's not the complete system. So if you want it more organized, you want the complete system, then you may want to look at our self-study, especially if this is your first time checking out the Pro 90D Smooth Speech System. Start with the self-study. For others of you that have been doing the self-study, or you've been even watching the videos and you haven't done the self-study, but you've been helped by the information that you've learned in the free resources, and you know that you need consistency, you need accountability, you need feedback, you need support. If you already know this, and you're a professional or you're professionally minded, and you're ready to take your speech to the next level, like you don't want to take years and years to do this, then you're going to want to work with me privately. Okay? So you have those three options. You can just do the free stuff, which I can almost guarantee you will take you a lot longer because people get distracted. They get discouraged. They say, oh, this isn't working. Or, oh, it worked for a little while, but now it's not working. Or, well, let me go try something else. Or, oh, you know what? I really don't have time to do this. Well, when you have the system, you know all the things that you need to do. When you're working with me personally and privately, I'm going to help you. I can't make you, but I'm going to help you stay consistent. I'm also going to save you time by saying, don't focus on all of this right now. Just focus on this one thing. You won't know what the one thing is because you don't have the same experience that I have looking at all of these different people from all around the world, personally having gone through it. I can see patterns and I can say, boom, work on this. Just focus on this for the next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Okay, now let's work on this. You wouldn't be able to do that yourself, right? That's why we need coaches. That's why we need consultants to come in and tell us the things that we can't know, that we don't know, right? That's why we're here. So the faster way, if you want to do this faster and you want to get faster results, the fastest way right now is the private coaching. So you have to look at this like an investment, not a cost, not something that you have to, okay, I got to pay for this. No. When people do the coaching and they do the work, they get better jobs. If they want a better job, they have better relationships. They feel better about themselves. Right? They're able to go out and order the food they want, make the phone calls they want, to participate in social conversations, to participate in professional conversations. Isn't that what you want? So if you've been struggling, then I want you to listen to this and make a decision when you're ready, right? This is not like you got to make a decision right now. You decide when you're ready, but just remember the time's going to pass anyway. So if you've been struggling with your speech for years, for decades, how much longer do you want to struggle? Right? Or do you want to take action? And when do you want to take action? You want to take action 3 months from now? Your speech won't be any different. 6 months won't be, might even be worse, right? I've had people say, oh, my speech has gotten worse, right? Because you're building more and more negative memories. So for those of you that you want to accelerate this process, you're ready to take your speech to the next level, now you've got interviews coming up, you're about to graduate school, or you're just tired, then what you want to do is one or two things. Start self-study now. There'll be a link there. Or book a private conversation with me now. And when you do that, just make sure that you're ready to move forward. You can always say no, I'm not ready right now, but just make sure that you're in a position where you're ready to move forward, okay? Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it's been helpful. Remember my simple A.S. formula, which is number one, that you want to affirm that you can take your time to say what you want to say when you want to say it the way that you want to say it. The second one is that you want to tell yourself to speak super slow. Some of you are going to have to say, speak super slow. Really slow your speech down. Remember, in the program, we give you very specific skills and ways to slow your speech down. We don't just say speak slow. We tell you how to speak slow, so you develop this as a habit. Speak slower, okay? And then finally, you want to stop letting other people dictate what you say, when you say it, how you say it. All right? So I look forward to seeing some of you. Once again, it's a great opportunity for you if you're ready to accelerate this process. Go ahead and click one of the links in or around this video. You can start out with the self-study, the complete one, and or you can go right ahead and say, you know what, I need the accountability, I need the feedback, I need the support, and I want to be a part of a community that's not just trying to stop stuttering, but they actually want to be excellent speakers. Remember this, and then we'll wrap up. A person who just doesn't stutter isn't going to get an applause. You're not necessarily going to get a job just because they don't stutter. The difference in Pro 90 is we help you become an excellent speaker, which means you got two people equally qualified, and let's say they're in a job interview. They're equally qualified, one just doesn't stutter. The other one's an excellent speaker. All things being equal, who gets the job? The excellent speaker. You have two people giving a presentation. One doesn't stutter. He used to, but maybe he's gotten to a place where he doesn't anymore. And then this other guy used to stutter, but now he's an excellent speaker. Well, who's going to get the applause? The person who's an excellent speaker. Say, man, that was awesome. But they're not going to say to the other guy, oh my God, he didn't stutter, he didn't stammer at all. That was amazing. And I said, oh, that was okay. You want them to say, oh my God, that was amazing, right? Well, that's what you can get when you work with me or when you work in this program, in this system. So once again, my name is Michael Williams. Thank you so much for watching this. We'll see you on the inside.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to this video. My name is Dr. Ismail. I'm a physician here in South Africa, a strong proponent of Michael Williams's Pro 90D system, and now also an affiliate of the Ultimate Smooth Speaking System. So what I want to share with you in this video is the absolute advantages and the beauty of the Pro 90D system, where it can take you to any level that you want, provided you are willing to put in the work. So I'll share with you a little bit about my journey. I embarked on the smooth speaking journey using the Pro 90D system about April last year. So prior to that, I used to be disfluent, I used to get stuck, I used to be very worried and concerned about giving presentations and reports, talking at meetings, worried about when I'm going to stumble or when I'm going to get stuck. So I was pretty much fed up about that, and in my line of work, being a physician and a fetal specialist, I needed to always talk because I'm always giving clinical advice to everybody. I'm attending meetings and I'm giving interviews, and I didn't want that to impact on my career. So I embarked on this journey of Pro 90D with Michael Williams, and it has transformed my life. It has changed my life forever in an absolute positive way, where now I enjoy speaking. I'm totally fluent and people enjoy speaking with me. I can discuss any clinical scenario that I want at any time, at any place. And all of this is due to the fact that I followed the system, I followed it intensely, I immersed myself in the system, and I began to see the results. Now, if you are a professional, and if you're professionally minded, and if you are having speech challenges, or if you're disfluent, or you speak too fast, or you have a fear of public speaking, or whatever speech challenges you may have, this is the absolute program for you. And the reason for that is that it's a holistic program. Okay? It's a holistic program, right? It takes an initial 3 months for you to get going and to get into the momentum, etc., etc. But in effect, it takes a bit longer than that to achieve total fluency or to get to a point of automaticity. But the 3 months creates the foundation and the platform for you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. So it's a holistic program. It's scientifically based. I think that is really, really important. And that was one of the reasons why I was really attracted to the Pro90D system, because when I read the science, which I was familiar with, I realized, which I was very familiar with, I realized that this was the system for me. And this was the system that was definitely going to work. Now, what does the Pro90D system? The Pro90D system, what it does is that it creates a new skill for you. Okay, it's really, really important. It's really, really important. It creates a new skill. It's like learning a new language. So it does not try and correct your disfluent self, or try and prevent stuttering, cure stuttering, or attempt to correct that. Because what Pro90D does is that it creates a new pathway, it creates a new neural pathway in your brain to smooth speech, like a free-flowing highway. So what happens is that initially your dominant self, which is disfluent, is in competition with the new neural pathways. But as you carry on immersing yourself in the new speaking style and in the holistic system that Pro90D gives you, you will find that sooner or later you will override your present disfluent self. Now remember, when you have disfluent speech, what is it actually? It's a habit. It's a habit that has sunk into your basal ganglia and to your cerebellum, and it is your default way of speaking. So what Pro90D tends to do, or it tries to do, is to create this new neural pathway that will override the script, that will override your present disfluent self, and create this new beautiful pathway in which you can indulge in nice, beautiful, smooth speech. Now, as a professional, you are often judged by the way you speak. Your career path, your promotions, how much you earn, all of those things are intimately related in the way you communicate. Because as I always say, right, nobody can see what's in your head, but people can only see what you speak. That is the only way that will reflect how good you are and what knowledge you have. So if you have great communication skills, whether it's in an informal speech, whether it's in a formal setting where you are presenting, where you're giving a report, whether you are in a teleconference, or whatever speaking scenario there is, if you give a good view of yourself and a good reflection of yourself, people think highly of you straight away. Now, for example, if two people are going for an interview who are equally qualified, they have the same qualifications. One is a fluent speaker who's got great communication skills, and the other one is unfortunately disfluent, who doesn't have great communication skills. Who do you think is going to get the job? That's obvious. The person who speaks well and is a great communicator. Because a lot of the professions, whether you're a doctor, attorney, accountant, architect, engineer, is dependent on how you communicate with clients, how you promote yourself, how you speak to patients, whatever the scenario there is. So Pro90D is fantastic in this way, especially in a professional, or if you're professionally minded, in furthering your career, in enhancing your career, okay, in getting the promotion you want, in increasing your earning ability, because you are now using your speech as an asset where previously it might have been a liability. So if you're a professional and you're professionally minded, the Pro90D system is definitely the system for you, because it can totally transform your speech. And I am speaking from experience. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching. See you later.